Whether it's a tall and strong polar bear or a clever and cunning fox, they all have to bow respectfully when they see this tiny animal smaller than a palm. It is the greatest animal in the animal city, surrounded by countless polar bear bodyguards. If any animal disrespects it, they will be turned into appetizers. When it was young, it built homes for small animals and provided shelters for many large animals, earning it the nickname Mr. Big. In fact, it is a shrew from the countryside, and before its success, it had an unknown story. When Mr. Big had just reached adulthood, it left its hometown with its grandmother to make a living, taking a cruise to find new lands. In its eyes, the cruise was actually a worn-out tire. In the big city, there were all kinds of animals, and it was dazzled by what it saw. Now Mr. Big decided to make a name for itself here and strive to achieve something great. But the gap between ideal and reality was huge. In the animal city, shrews like it didn't even have a place to stay. Because of their small size, any small action by another animal could potentially kill them. But Mr. Big was somewhat lucky. A passing car dropped a cardboard box, and it and his grandmother picked it up and made it their home. To survive, the grandmother decided to bake bread to support the family. The grandmother's bread was delicious, and Mr. Big only needed to ensure the bread was safely delivered to the customers. They thought it would be an easy task, but when they actually started, Mr. Big realized that delivering bread was a dangerous job. The cars on the streets couldn't see its tiny figure at all, and crossing each intersection was filled with great danger. Those days were extremely tough. The streets were bustling with traffic, and crossing at traffic lights was a gamble with life. This kind of life was already very difficult, but because it was too small, it had no ability to resist, so it was often bullied. The grandmother was always optimistic and encouraged Mr. Big not to give up. To facilitate deliveries, the grandmother specially made a tricycle for it. Mr. Big loved this little tricycle, and the delivery efficiency improved a lot. More and more bread was sold, and with the help of the grandmother's bakery, they finally survived in the animal city. But great achievements often do not rely on the efforts of just one person. Mr. Big was very smart and had a great vision. When everyone was still weak, it used just a coin and an ice cream to gain a lifelong friend. They helped each other, and with the protection of the tall and strong polar bear, Mr. Big gradually gained a foothold. The business was no longer limited to small animals and grew bigger and bigger. But evil forces soon struck. A domineering rhino knocked over its stall, took all the savings from the bakery, and even Mr. Big's favorite tricycle was crushed. Its family and friends were all harmed, and Mr. Big decided to fight back. Although the rhino was huge, this time it chose not to run away. Mr. Big, though small, was very agile. It ran circles around the rhino, and the story of a mouse defeating an elephant played out. The friends Mr. Big had helped in the past all came to help, and even the grandmother contributed her rolling pin. Everyone worked together to defeat the evil forces and rebuild their home. After Mr. Big succeeded, it did not forget its friends, especially its dear friend, the polar bear. The polar bear liked cold places, and in the hot animal city, they suffered. So, Mr. Big built Ice Town, so that all the polar bears had their own home. After that, it became more and more successful. With more and more followers, Mr. Big's status became unshakable. This is the story of the shrew from the animal city.